Hello, all you patrons! Here's another pre-show for everyone. Gather round.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. On this last episode in February or January, whatever month it is. It's January. That's what it is. It's January. And
Are
let's
months
see.
are are months really going by that fast for you? Are you? It's hard to keep up.
It is.
That
It's one
makes
of the
that
beauties
makes
of
me nervous.
it should make all you little tots out there nervous because guess what? I mean, eventually you're going to start. Well, it starts. Is it Christmas already? And then it just. Now the good news. There's always good news. Is you can try to hold on to Christmas. You know, so you've still got. Let me see. We can figure this out.
February 2nd is Sunday is February 2nd. Next Sunday.
Next Sunday. So
So
that's
that's
Candlemas.
Candlemas.
That's Candlemas, which means, gosh, if we do the show, I'll be in England next weekend, but I'll take my trusty laptop.
Okay, well, we'll see, Charles. We'll see.
Because wouldn't it be weird to do a show on Candlemas Eve?
Why would that be weird?
Well, Candlemas Eve is like St. John's Eve,
Is it?
or May Eve, or Halloween.
How is that?
I don't know. It's just one of the spooky nights here in Europe.
I don't believe you've told us about Candlemas Eve, have you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's again another bonfire night. Um, these things, they're roughly the same. You light bonfires, you tell ghost stories and all that, proper to the place in which you live. Obviously, the ones they tell in the Netherlands are different from the ones they tell in Romania. But the legendary figures are different and all that. But it's the same idea that somehow at the boundaries of the year, the quarter days and the cross quarter days, the veil between the worlds becomes very thin. Yeah, see?
Okay.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, that's really exciting. I love to be
It
haunted.
happened. Well, it happened on Inauguration Day. When I saw President Biden next to President Trump, I thought the veil between the worlds is very thin this time of year.
Hmm.
They inhabit two different worlds, you say.
That's for sure. Yeah. Um. Okay.
I wonder if Biden remembers the inauguration. It was a while ago.
I wonder. Um.
But
I don't know.
beyond that, I don't know either. On a stranger note, though, Tuesday, January the 28th, is the Feast of Blessed Charlemagne and my name day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so anybody who wants to send me large monetary gifts, feel free. I'm accepting all currencies. I'm not really set up for Bitcoin or anything like that, but gold sovereigns, ducats, doubloons, pieces of eight. You just keep them coming my way for the name day, and I'll be happy. 2 days later, uh, which is why I'm going to England actually, is the anniversary of the execution, the murder, the martyrdom of Charles I. And every year they have a wreath laying they have a wreath laying in the Trafalgar Square by the statue, and then usually at the banqueting house. Sometimes they do it other places, but the Society of King Charles the Martyr will have an Anglo-Catholic high mass, which whether or not they've got valid orders of the priests to offer it, I don't know. I don't ask, but I don't receive either. But it is quite the thing to see. And then that night, the Royal Stuart Society will have an evensong in honor of King Charles I at St. George's Chapel, Windsor, where he is in fact entombed. So I'll be doing all that this year. I wish I could have been in Paris for the Louis XVI celebrations this past week, but I wasn't. So maybe next year. And Candlemas will be no. I shouldn't forget. February 1st is not just Candlemas Eve; it's also St. Bridget's Day.
St. Bridget of
So
Sweden?
no, no, no. The Irish one, St. Bridget of Ireland. And the following weekend, I'll be in Ireland for the Round Tower Conference. And amongst the other things, we're going to go to Knock, the Shrine of Knock. And you know what makes the apparition at Knock stand out from any other?
No.
Our Lady was silent.
Our Lady was silent.
She was silent. She said nothing. She appeared with, I think, St. Joseph and several other heavenly inhabitants, but it was a silent apparition. 1876, I think, in Knock. And the unkind people say that Our Lady said nothing in Ireland because she couldn't get a word in edgewise with the Irish. So she didn't even bother trying. She said, nah, they wouldn't listen anyway. I'll just be a ministry of presence. But a ton of people saw her.
So, how do you spell that? N-A-C-H?
No, Knock. As in knock, knock, who's there?
Our Lady of Knock? That looks so weird. That's like...
Well, that's because you're thinking of knock, knock, who's there?
That's... Knock Shrine, the sanctuary of Our Lady of Knock. 1879, the Blessed Virgin Mary, St. Joseph, St. John the Evangelist, angels, and Jesus Christ. Wow. And no one said a word.
Nope.
Wow.
Well, you're there with the Irish. What can you say that they may not contradict? You know.
I'm surprised we haven't heard more of this. Irish are pretty loud usually about their stuff.
Well, they even drowned out the Holy Family. What's to be said? What's to be said? I mean, what can...
I'm sorry, okay.
I can see it now, you know, my children. No, that's what I need to say. What's she going to say then? Well, shut up. Let her speak. No, you shut up. No, you shut up. I told you first. So they just looked at each other and shrugged and waited. And waited. And waited. You know, for the crowd to settle down and be quiet. It never happened, so they left. No, it.
All right.
No, they were lucky. They were lucky a brawl didn't break out. You know, like Finnegan's Wake. It's the Holy Family. No, it isn't. Hush your gob. Now you. Now, can we all have a little order here? Oh, who's telling us to come to order? Who are you anyway?
Well, let me ask you this. So when you go over to Romania and you do your thing, you do your Transylvanian accent. Okay, people are like, "Oh, yeah, that's cute, Charles. That's great." Let me ask you this. Do you dare do your Irish impression over in Ireland?
Sure, to be sure. Oh, well. Absolutely.
You do? People have to go endure that?
Now, why should the Irish be deprived of my talents? Now, I ask you that. What have the Irish done to deserve such treatment? No, sir. I would not deprive them of my imitation of their manner of speech. Although, to be fair, I'm told my brogue is pretty good, if somewhat on the Kerry side. And I'm told it's even best it's at its best when I sing Irish songs.
Okay. Well, excellent. That's something to be proud of, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, it comes in handy because every now and then when I'm in Ireland, I'll snap. You're in a pub that advertises traditional music, right? And you're sitting there, and after like your fourth or fifth Elvis Presley song, no, no, I've had enough. Then I'll go up to the band, whoever's playing. Usually there are five or six musicians and a vocalist, or one or more of the musicians are vocalists, and I'll say, "Could you sing?" And I'll come up with a traditional Irish song, and they'll look at me. What? Would you want to sit in then? Meaning sit in, meaning join the. Well, if you don't mind, sure. And then I'll sing with them. And time and again, I've done that. And inevitably, one of the oldest of the musicians will grab my hand and shake it and thank me very much for having actually done something traditional.
That's really surprising to me because are the Clancy brothers quote unquote traditional Irish music?
Yeah, but and you don't hear it that much there. I mean, they still do it, but you gotta sometimes fight for it.
I'm just surprised because to me it's in its own special beautiful spot that
It is.
you think it's there for the taking, especially given your niche and your marketing and what you're saying, like, you know?
But as I said, when you're sitting there and wise man say, only
Oh, okay,
fools right.
don't even do that. Don't do that.
Do you understand
Is
why
that
it
really
drives
the
me?
case?
Yes, absolutely. And if you wonder why that pushes me over the edge, well, it
Well,
does.
is that due to popular demand? Is that what the people
Yeah,
of Ireland want? They want that? They want Elvis?
yeah. Well, they must, or they wouldn't be singing it, would they? See, they do. The Irish have always had, due to centuries of foreign subjugation, sort of in a sense, a kind of cultural inferiority complex. Now, once upon a time, that was aimed toward Britain. Now it's aimed toward the States. And it's a sad thing to see because, Ireland is a grand country and it really doesn't need to emulate anybody but itself. Uh, but, as Officer Clancy was wont to know when he was wont to say when he was just a cop on the beat, don't you pull that nonsense here, boyo. Go back to Sligo or wherever it is you come from. And it was strange because he would say that to Italian mafiosi.
Yeah. Takes a certain level of grit to be able to do that.
I'd say. Well, you think you can come here with your shutty Irish ways, huh? I remember him saying that to a group of black gangbangers. So, you know, I
Okay.
don't know whether it was cultural insensitivity or what it was. It worked, though. I mean, he pulled out the billy club and they were gone.
Okay. All right, let's do some questions. How, how's
Well,
that sound?
okay, but
Yeah?
it sounds good. I just wanted to say that, St. Bridget aside, before I forget, you'll have Candlemas. And a week from today, Candlemas. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, however you can, get to a candle mass. They are wonderful. They are beautiful. The Eastern rites do them, or at least the Byzantines do as well. And those blessed candles will stand you in good stead any time of year. In New Orleans on the Gulf Coast, they keep them and they light them during hurricanes. And then the following day, speaking of candles, Monday, a week from tomorrow, will be the Feast of St. Blaise. And the Feast of St. Blaise gets the blessing of the throat.
That's right. Are you going to get your throat blessed?
Sure am. Although that's the day that I come home from England here. So it might take a little bit of ingenuity. When am I coming back? They just told me I've got to do something, sell my soul or something. I forgot. Um, I'm supposed to do something, but I don't remember what. Here we go. Uh, Here we go. I'm coming back. I am coming back. I am. Oh yeah, I've got a 2:50 flight. So from Heathrow. So I'm going to need to get that done in the morning. But it's Candlemas is really the end of Christmas, but it's like St. Blaise was a slight echo just because he's dealing with candles. Oh, and let's not forget, you know what else begins at that time?
What?
Think about it.
Wait. So we're talking next week. So you said can't.
Right. The end of Christmas, the end of the Christmas season.
Beginning of Lent. Kind of Lent season. Except I don't know.
No.
What?
The season of Septuagesima, of Mardi Gras. Carnival. I don't believe a Southern Italian. Forget it. I'm not going there. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, don't go there.
I'm not. I mean, that should be. You should have told me. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's fine.
Carnevale.
Yes. All right. Pierre says, "What are yours and Charles's favorite forms of the Mass? Besides the traditional Latin Mass, I find the aesthetics of the Byzantine Divine Liturgy to be quite moving." Byzantine's good. Yeah, I like Byzantine a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I was there today, this morning. I love the Byzantine. I love the Ordinariate Mass. I mean, I belong to the Ordinariate. And I've been to the Armenian, the Chaldean, the Syriac, the Coptic, the Ethiopian, the Malankara, the Malabar. They're all wonderful in very different ways. And the thing is, each of the other rites is different from each other, as they are to the Byzantine or the Byzantine to the Latin rite. Now, I've also seen the Dominican rite, which I've enjoyed, and the Carmelite rite. I've never seen the Cistercian rite, but they have the.
What's the Carmelite rite? I'm surprised. I encountered this unknowingly. What is that?
No,
we have.
You
haven't. We have enough Carmelites over here, and we. No. What's going on?
Well, it's like this. You remember when St. Teresa, when Father Sullivan was the pastor?
Yes.
At St. Teresa.
Yeah.
He told me he wanted to learn the Carmelite rite. And I smiled and said, "Oh, but Father, even if you learn it, you won't be able to offer it." And he looked at me and he said, "Why not?" "Because you're a Carmelite of the strict observance." And back in the 1500s, they gave up the Carmelite rite for the Roman rite to show their allegiance to Rome during the Protestant Revolt. St. John of the Cross wasn't happy with it, but St. Teresa and the rest pushed it along. And so, you folk haven't used it since the 1500s. I'm afraid the OXO, Order of Carmel of the Strict Observance, don't get to have it. It's strictly for the Au Carme, the unreformed. It's all right, Father.
I'm getting lost in the different types of Carmelites. Where does OCD fit into that?
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. No, OCD is order of. I said OXO. I didn't mean that.
It's
That's
discalcid.
OCD. Forget OXO. That's the Cistercians, the Trappists. It's OCD, yeah, which is Order of
Oh,
Carmelite Discalcid.
okay,
Yeah, I made a mistake. It happens.
okay.
So OCD, apart from having to go through various rituals every day to maintain a different thing.
Yeah, different thing.
No, the OCDs when they were founded gave up the Carmelite Rite, and so the unreformed, the Chalcid Carmelites, if you will, they still do it. Well, they did it. Now, after Vatican II, of course, as with the Dominicans and all the other orders, they took the Novus Ordo. But there is, to my knowledge, in Troy, New York, a single regular Carmelite rite offered every uh, week, every day. And then the Carmelite monks that are a whole new thing, really, in Wyoming, and they do the Carmelite rite.
Oh, what's it like? It's like the TLM or something?
Well, it's like it, except that as with the Dominican rite, the gifts are prepared a la the Byzantines before the real mass gets underway, and some of the prayers are different. The Confiteor is different. It starts confitimini. It's different words. There are a few other differences. The Carmelite Rite is interesting because its official name is not really Carmelite Rite, although they're the only ones who use it now. It was the Rite of the Holy Sepulchre, and it was actually the rite during the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem that was used there. And originally, it was the proper rite for the Order of Malta, the Teutonic Knights, the Templars, and the Order of the Holy Sepulchre. Uh, and at various times after the fall of the kingdom, they all gave it up. But the Carmelites held on to it because of Mount Carmel. And then, as I say, the OCDs gave it up in the 1500s. So it's a very ancient rite, very medieval, uh, and very, very hard to find now. But like everything else, it's slowly creeping out again, much to the displeasure of elderly non-binaries of all descriptions in the church.
I'm actually gonna steer this a different fun direction because you reminded me of a really interesting conversation I had. One of the fans of the show, who happens to be Byzantine, one of her fiance is an Orthodox seminarian, I think.
Oh,
I think
well,
Russian Orthodox or Greek Orthodox. Yeah. So, but anyhow, I was having a really interesting conversation with him. He was telling me a lot of things about I don't know if it's the propers, forgot, but the way the Orthodox do the mass, where there's so many interchangeable. I understood it as propers, but
well, they have. I mean, the structure of the Divine Liturgy, the Byzantine Divine Liturgy, is different to ours. I mean,
yeah,
the Catholic Byzantines and the Orthodox are virtually identical,
yeah.
uh, but they have a lot more in the way of propers than we do. That's true.
And the way he was describing it, I thought to myself, because actually he was telling me it was all in contingent on use of this digital application. Now, like the way people say it, you needed to refer to this very specific digital app. And at one of the liturgies, the Wi-Fi went out and they lost access to this app. And that was they didn't know how to. they couldn't do they were lost basically.
Well, it gets very different, especially because they have different tones that are specific to different feasts.
Interesting.
In addition to different texts.
And I was sort of marveling at that because if you're relying on this digital technology in order to get through things, how did Back in the
They
day,
memorize.
they sort through this.
The way they do here, they memorize, and they have notes. And they have tons of liturgical books that they refer to. I mean, just going to Vespers or Matins here in the Byzantine style, which I do from time to time, they're always referring backwards and forwards to different books for this very
Yeah.
reason. And, every now and then they come out with a new quote unquote simplified manual to make it easier. But there's a lot there, an awful lot there. I mean, it's a very, each of the rites has something wonderfully rich. The Qurbana of the Malabar, Syro-Malabar rite, ends with a wonderful prayer. Let me see if I can find it. Um, it was very poignant because we had a priest of that rite here as a student for several years. My first year here, and my first 3 or 4 years here, and he he said this just before. It was the last liturgy we had before the lockdown. Before we had the lockdown of before the lockdown on for COVID, with the people who were leaving were leaving, and those who were going to stay were basically going to be sealed off from the outside world. So this this is a prayer. That if I could find it, I mean, it may be that I don't see it in this version. It basically what it says is that for I may not, let me see, I may not, I do not know when I might offer this sacrifice again. It really, it was so when we said this prayer. I mean, there wasn't a dry eye in the house, Yeah, here it is. The pray. It's actually the priest's prayer, but here it is. Praise to you, altar of sanctification. Praise to you, the sepulchre of our Lord. May the holy Qurbana that I have received from you be unto me the forgiveness of my debts and the remission of my sins. I know not whether I shall come again to offer another sacrifice. And it was very moving.
Yeah. All right. Next question. John says, who are Mr. Coulombe's favorite historians?
Well, that of course a lot depends on the time and the place, but I would say for controversial matters, Catholic, William Thomas Walsh, Belloc, Chesterton, Bernard Fay when it comes to French questions. Christopher Hollis, Warren Carroll, and Kevin Starr when it's a question of California history. He was the great writer on California history. There's so many of them. Sir Charles Petrie.
I'll tell you who's on my to to read list from who you've recommended is Eric von Kuhnelt-Ledeen.
Oh yeah, definitely, Eric
Yeah.
Levine and Thomas Molnar,
Yes.
uh, Frederick Wilhelmsen. There's so many. It's hard.
I guess it's just sort of. I mean, what's being asked is, I would assume a sort of starting point, a reading list, to delve into history. Who should we be buying from? So that seems like a pretty good list.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest myths about the pre-Protestant Revolt church?
Well, a lot of things. One is that the people were stupid and didn't know what was going on with the mass. That's probably the first one. That they didn't have access to the Bible because they were illiterate. That it was nothing but corruption. That's certainly truer of certain circles today than it was then, and not just among Catholics. um, the idea that they went in for phony relics and phony miracles, when in fact so many of those miracles and so many of those relics were perfectly authentic. That is a big myth. That was all phony because it's never stopped. The miraculous and the all the rest of it's never stopped. It's just that we're too stupid to be impressed by it. I guess ultimately that it's the idea that they were crueler than we are, they were dumber than we are. They weren't the wonderful beings that we are. I think that's the overarching historical sin, is the idea that we're smarter or better or more moral than our predecessors.
All right. We are out of time when it comes to the pre-show, but that reminds me, we are fresh out of questions in terms of questions from patrons. So that leads me to say two things. Number one, if I happen to not ask your question, then I probably somehow missed it. Maybe the message didn't get forwarded to my email. Some technical difficulty. But send in more questions, please. That helps us out a lot. So, yeah.
Well, it's what the show's about. Otherwise, you'll just get to hear us chat about nothing in particular. And then you'll be sorry.
Oh, then you'll be really sorry. Oh, please, no. Okay, I'll send in a question. I don't... okay.
Like
Charles,
that.
what do you think of the rosary? Or
yeah, well,
anything.
I'm all for it. Charles, what do you think of the spring fashion line? Now, mind you, but we can do fashion. I'm not above it. Charles, brown shoes or black?
That's a great question.
Charles, double-breasted waistcoat or single?
I feel like you're a double-breasted guy. Because I thought your dad was double-breasted. Because Thin Man was double-breasted.
It's just so hard to find. I'll tell you what. If I could get a supply of double-breasted vests, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
I have a particular design in mind too.
Well, if only we knew a bespoke tailor who does suits.
But he'd have to do it for free because I don't have any money.
Well, maybe you could cut a deal or something at free advertising, right?
Free advertising. Yes. Oh, look at my wonderful bespoke suit. Who did this come from? Well, I don't know. Would that be product placement?
Oh,
man. No. If you're listening and you know who you are, I'm not going to say the name because I'm addressing you. I don't want him to think I'm begging in public.
I don't know if he's a patron. I don't think we have to worry about that. I don't think I'd be surprised if he is. My mind is blown. But we'll see.
Well, I know they watch the regular show,
Yeah.
but suffice to say that even whether they do or they don't, I ain't gonna ask them for free handouts. They put a lot of work into what they do.
Okay.
So that's why I'm not gonna try to shame them in it. By
It's just a
mentioning that.
business deal, I mean, the Tumblr organization, we do this all the time, right? But we're not always asking. That's the difference.
Well, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. Hence the toasters of the gift shop this week. That was very funny, actually. When I was back home, I was driving with somebody down Huntington Boulevard, Huntington Drive, rather, in beautiful downtown Arcadia, and we saw this big truck. I think they had TVs or something, and there was, the red light came on, and the guy who was driving with me says, "Well, I guess there'll be a special on TV sets in the gift shop."
Funny how that happens, I can't explain it, but
It's a luck of the draw. There was in Hollywood. There used to be a French restaurant called La Poubelle. I think it's still there, and it means the trash can. So we used to joke about the catch of the day at La Poubelle.
Wow. Yeah, I guess it's like that, right? Like it's what you were telling me about on the menu. It says assorted game or catch of the day. Well, we just have
what it really was.
we just have the appliance version.
The appliance of the product of the day, the product special. This just in. Yeah. No, I remember one lady came up to me and said she'd never seen tires in a gift shop before. And I said, "Yeah, well, a couple of weeks ago we had spark plugs. You never know what's going to fall off a truck."
Oh.
Sometimes, when people are moving, it's just household furniture used. Oh.
All right, that'll do it for the pre-show. Stay tuned for the full episode, everyone. More laughs to come.
And remember, if it's your soul on a Monday, watching off the menu might help save it.
Okay, stay tuned. See you. Yeah.